Well, how's everybody doing? Make y'all a quick update video. First off, I need to make a video of the S10. A lot of stuff happened in a short period of time, and I'm talking like 2 days. Well, 2 afternoons, I should say. So I went racing. I tore some stuff up. The truck didn't really drive good at the racetrack the other night. And well, today's Saturday night, and I went racing, last Friday, so it was a week and a day ago. I went to the track. It was a lot of fun, but the truck wanted to go kind of to the right on the gas, and when I let off the gas, it wanted to go left. And from watching the video, well, I got a couple videos that somebody else took, and I've slowed it down and kind of watched in slow motion, frame by frame, what the truck is doing. And that truck ain't happy with the current setup, or the setup that was a week ago. So as soon as I came home from the racetrack, the next day I felt really bad. It's like an adrenaline crash thing. So the day after that, I went to pull it off the trailer, and yeah, it made some real funny noises, and it didn't want to move real good. Like there was a brake on, or it was in, a few gears at once or something. So yeah, so the smoked the transmission, changed the fluid and filter and got all the metal out of it, because there was like a whole bunch of loose metal in it. And it would still go. It just felt a little funny, and sounded real funny. But it was still shifting and stuff, so I was like, okay, not a race car transmission anymore. Add Lucas, keep driving. So I put some Lucas transmission, fix them up and stuff in there, and kept on driving it. Before that, I took the supercharger off of it. That sometime during the day, as you can see from the stain on there and this annihilated O-ring, I threw it down there so you guys can, so the camera won't freak out. But I blew this O-ring out, and you can kind of see where it blew out from right about here to right about there. And it just was spraying fuel and air right then. It's a machine surface, so the tolerance is pretty tight, and that's the only reason it kept running. But I could tell after the first couple passes where I spun and I lifted and I got back on it, I could tell like I heard it, and I did something, because it wasn't running right. It was running good, but it wasn't running right. Like I could tell something wasn't right. And my mile an hour tapered off all night, but my ET increased. And the only reason that was is because I was finally getting the damn thing to hook, so I was doing more and more aggressive burnouts, pretty much third gear on the rev limiter. After the first couple passes, it was third gear on the rev limiter every burnout. Or at least most of them was. A couple of them I didn't get on camera, I think. There's one of them I know I didn't. But anyway, I finally got it to hook, but it wasn't making the steam on the top end. The boost was tapering off again. So yeah, you can't reuse them O-rings. That was a new O-ring. It was my only spare, and it was new in the box, and it had, well, I made 9 passes. So yeah, so the S10's got the Victor Jr. intake on it, and it's still got the big old 4-barrel on it that was on that, with the big 1/2-inch fuel line and everything, and the big fuel pump. All that's coming off and going in the T-bucket on that supercharger on that 302. But for now, I need to drive it. So what I did, the 513 axle is over there sitting on the floor. I put a 308 gear back in it. Like I said, I put Lucas in the transmission and changed the fluid and filter, and I took the blower off, and I put a stock hood on it that I got off another truck, and I got another set of doors I was going to put on it. but I realized the doors don't have mirrors on them. So I didn't do that yet because I got to figure out how to take my mirrors off and put them on the other doors. And I'm sure it's real simple, but I've never did it before and I don't want to screw it up. And it's like one of the things, the only reason I was going to change my doors is because the ones I got in the shed over there, I took off my buddy's truck that I got off of them. They're nicer. The interior panel is all nice. The inside of the door hasn't been gutted to lighten it. There's a lot of things I did on an S10 I probably shouldn't have, but I was trying to cut weight and make it lighter. The windows roll up and down without you having to grab the window and help it stay in the track. Other than that, purely cosmetic. Anyway, so I need to put the doors on there, but I got to do the mirrors first. It's one of them things, like, I wasn't worried about it. But I've been driving it to work and back, and it runs like a 2600 RPM at 63, 60-ish, somewhere around there. It don't like to drive, you know, what it's supposed to be driving. It wants to go like 65, 73, 75, you know, it wants to just, that engine wants to just run at 3,000 RPMs all day and it would be happy. If that engine could just stay right at 3,000 RPMs, that's like its sweet spot. Everything just like nice and smooth. It's like you're on the throttle and then once it gets to 3,000, you kind of lift the throttle and it'll stay there. Anything below that, I'm noticing I got to put a lot more into it. So that, and I got a huge camshaft in that engine. Or it ain't really a huge camshaft, it's just a very aggressive camshaft. The only reason I left it in there is because it ran better than it ran better than all of these other camshafts. I kid you not, I've tried 4 different camshafts in that 427 and the big mother thumper, like the cam that shouldn't run the best, runs the best. With that blower on it. With the carb on it, it still runs great, but I notice it's lacking down in the lower RPM. Now on the 427 that wasn't so bad, but on the 350 it's a little on the big side. What I'd like to do, I got a 292 cam here. I'd like to put that cam in it because it would idle better, get better gas mileage, have better throttle response, have better power. It wouldn't sound as cool. But it's still got more than enough power. I mean, it's the exact same engine that I ran at the racetrack, only without the supercharger on it. So I mean, it's a rowdy little truck. But yeah, I'd still like to tame it down a little more and make it to where it, you know, because that cam's got so much overlap and so much duration. It's like 313 duration. It's just an insane amount of overlap. What that was doing with the blower, I think, was it was scavenging. It was when the intake valve would open, the exhaust valve was still open to where both valves was open at once, and it would force a nice clean charge of air through the intake out the exhaust and purge the chamber before the exhaust valve opened. The piston was all the way at the bottom and it started, you know, filling up the chamber with fuel and air. I think it was the scavenging effect of that cam which made it run so damn good. And I mean, it makes awesome power, but you know, I want to tame it down a little bit so it ain't pissing off on the neighbors me driving it. So anyway, that's what happened to the S10. I'm not racing anymore. Like I said, I'm building a T-bucket now, so yeah. So other than that, I got 10 plug-ins all the way, where the hell did they go? 1, 2, 3, that's only, 10 plug-ins. There's 5 on that wall, you know, 5 on the back wall and this wall together, and that's hooked up to one circuit. There's 5 down this wall and down that wall, hooked up to one circuit. I got these lights around on the circuit. What I planned on doing is putting the box, running into the conduit and attach it and put a box into right here, run this into a box with a switch on it for my lights, like a heavy 20 amp switch. And those lights over there just plug in. So I ran out of wire. I didn't buy any. I bought all the new plug-ins and boxes. All this wire I got from work. There was like a whole great big roll of wire that somebody gotten dirty or got tangled or something that pissed somebody off and they threw it away. And I picked it up and cut anything bad off of it and used it, every bit of it. I got a couple little short, like 3 2-foot pieces left, just scraps, but the plan was to run another wire, run another wire from here or somewhere. I wanted another light fixture there, but I wanted a wire to run across to that side, and another light fixture there, obviously. I ran out of money, I can't buy any more light fixtures. But I wanted to wire them all up on one circuit and have them on a switch. Well, that didn't work out because I ran out of wire, so one day when I, feel like it, I got 10 plug-ins all the way around the building. I don't think it's going to hurt anything having those hooked up to an extension cord, but for some reason that bugs me. I want everything in here to be right. So what I've done, air supply. I got shop air without having to hear the air compressor. That line runs outside over to the shed. So does one of them pieces of wire. And got an air compressor. So air compressor, left side of the shop and the back wall, right side of the shop and the front wall, or back wall, front wall, whichever way you want to call it. Got the MIG welder, the lights, the Lincoln welder. Couldn't see all of it. The mains, 100 amp box. Everything's wired up, everything's working. I got some pictures of the inside of it. I probably won't show any. It looks amazing on the inside. Everything's nice and not touching each other and bent exactly right and straight. And I'm a perfectionist on my wiring. What I couldn't figure out how to do is run it down the wall and attach it to anything. I don't want to put any holes in my sheet metal. So I just ran it behind, and then on this run it would come through, come around, and then go into the box, and then out of the box, around, shoot down that way, so it's not pulling on the wire on the box, and so it ain't just ran, way out here, where it would be touching the walls. I'd rather be back here, and then when I do insulation, that's all going to be behind the insulation, or encapsulated into it, because I want to do spray foam, but it's not cheap. But yeah, so I didn't want to knock a bunch of holes in anything. I didn't drill holes in anything in this building to do anything. I put a few screws into the frame of it to mount stuff, like welder cart. I can wheel that all the way to everywhere around the shop and out the door, like quite a few feet. I got a whole bunch of wire attached to it that's hardwired, not plugged in. So I got a long cord that goes to that. That's wired in. Everything works. Everything's good to go. I haven't tried to plug in the drill press and use it yet. That's been sitting in the shop for a long time. I think that's a Ford bearing. Pretty sure that's a seal for a Ford. About 40 people that's Ford enthusiast just goes and smashes the dislike button now. Oh yeah, how that works. Nice. So yeah, lots been going on. Now I need to take everything out of all these toolboxes and stuff and organize all this stuff and put the tools like where they go instead of just randomly every place. Half the stuff in these toolboxes ain't even tools. Like I got just parts, nuts and bolts and feeler gauges and more nuts and bolts and gaskets and my favorite wrench. Caps and dies. I think they were Sharpies. Needed these. Oh, that's the cam that's in the 302. If anybody cares. Well, I filled all my holes up, so I'm going to have to put a couple more of those things up. Anyway, that's 15 minutes long. Yeah, you guys are probably getting bored already if you're even still watching, and I want to watch this anyway. So, oh yeah, I got internet out here, I got power, I got air, I got all the necessities to a happy shop. So I'm going to finish watching this and straighten up my tools and stuff. I need a bigger screen. See, my plan was I want a great big TV, like, you know, this whole area right there, I want it to be a TV. Although looking at it, you know, I tell you what I probably really need for out here. A real nice white sheet to hang on there and a projector somewhere that just, big old screen right there. That would be cool. This place would be like a movie theater. Put a couch back there. Yeah. I'd never leave. So anyway, yeah, I don't know what else really to update you guys on. Hope so much stuff going on all the time, I can't keep track. Well, yeah, so you guys take it easy, and I'll see you in the next video.